So I believe in Jesus Christ as my Savior, right? Personal Savior, and I believe in God. And I read what the Bible says, and I have my personal relationship with God. But I really don't like to be considered a Christian or any other denomination for that matter. You know what I mean? I just believe in God. I just believe in Jesus Christ. I don't, as my personal Savior, I don't want to be tied up in any kind of quote unquote organized religion type of thought process, because again, not there's anything against it, not that I'm right, not that I'm wrong, it's just my personal beliefs. I just don't like the whole my God versus your God conversation. Champ Talk is back
once again. They let us come back.
I got like 3 or 4 coffees in me, a pre-workout. I'm ready to talk, dude.
Oh, no.
I'm probably going to interrupt you like 7 times, so make sure you stop me.
Well, that's not a new record. It's okay.
No, we're still spot on. I hope people are gonna reach out this time. We've asked them. Still, nobody's sliding in my DMs. That's funny, That's funny, Speaking of sliding in DMs, so basically, I'm so unhip to the game that I don't even know when somebody's sliding into my DM, right? I mean, of course, when the guys do it, I know what they want, right? You know what I mean? That's pretty obvious. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I've had a couple of those, believe it or not, where like dudes like, you know what I mean? I want you to teach me jiu-jitsu and I want to be on you. And I'm like, well, that's going to cost you extra, buddy. You know what I mean?
Is it true what they say?
Yeah.
About jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. But no, like I've had females slide in my DMs. Allegedly, they were trying to do something, and I completely missed the cue. You know what I mean? Oh, hey, yeah, that's great. I'm glad you're doing your glute exercises like that. You know what I mean? The way that you're going up and down with your squats makes sense. Here's how I would break it down from a standpoint of, logistics. You should do this. You do that. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, dude. All I wanted to do was fuck. You know what I mean? I'm like, completely missed it all. You know what I mean? So evidently I'm not cool enough to understand how DMs work, but that's not the kind of DMs I want the audience to view.
No. We want some, Champ of the Week.
Champ of the Weeks.
Yeah.
We want some insight. We want some feedback. We want some do's and don'ts. Don't be scared to hurt our feelings. I tell Chet all the time where he's fucking up. You can tell him too. It's perfect. Please. Okay.
Because I'll tell you.
Yes. Ooh. Guys, welcome to Champ Talk with Brandon Hudson. I am your host, Brandon Hudson. Across to me is the infamous.
It's Chet again.
Just Chet again. This episode of Champ Talk is brought to you by Ardbrack Acres. Check this out, man. Ardbrack Acres is located in Pittsville. They have their farm, dude. The fucking produce is off the hook there. They're one of our sponsors. What they do is they do CSAs, crop sharing agreements and stuff like that. You can just go and show up and pick up food. They got all kinds of stuff there. They got pork. They got chicken. They got produce. Obviously, it's all local. Strawberries, honey.
A little something different. What's in season.
Oh, it's great.
Changes a little bit.
Yes. Man, they've really taken off and grown from there. So I'm definitely appreciative of Ardbrack Acres and all their support. Check them out, man. Message them. Look them up on Facebook. They're definitely out there, and they're right in Pittsfield. It's a great time. Also, guys, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Champ Talk with Brandon Hudson. It's a vibe. Everybody's doing it. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, you're probably left out of the cool club. There's a lot of secret information that only people that subscribe would ever find out, so make sure you do that. You can also check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, Champ Talk with Brandon Hudson. We're on Spotify. We're Apple Podcasts.
Where aren't we?
I
don't know.
I'm trying to be in your home next week. All right, next week we're trying to be on your television. Okay, so we might have that coming too. Who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows what lies in front of the world of Champ Talk with Brandon Hudson. Also, want to give shout out to the brand, Maurice and 40, man. They've been so awesome to us, and it's just great, man, to have their support, and they've really helped, dude. I mean, hands down, they've helped me and this show become a little bit more tolerable than your average. So,
and they haven't kicked us out yet.
They haven't kicked us out yet. You know what I mean? They're still rocking with us. So appreciate you guys. If you guys are looking to do your own podcast or maybe some videography or some cool shit in it, commercials, I mean, these guys are all over the place. So yeah, man, you will check me and tell me how it is and make me feel like a piece of shit. And I do appreciate that about you.
It's love.
Oh, I know. It's tough love. Made me feel uncomfortable. My skin started crawling. I was like, what the fuck?
I learned that from watching you, Coach.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I will hurt your feelings in a heartbeat.
You ain't shit. You're never going to be shit.
No, you're not. So here on Champ Talk, there's a couple things we don't talk about. Politics being one. Nobody wants to hear about that. And religion being the other. You know what I mean? Everything else is pretty much, shit, if you heard last week's episode, you definitely know everything's pretty much on the table. So with that being said, we're going to talk about religion this week. Decided that we could bring that up today.
Man, two things my mother told me never talk about: politics and religion.
Well, we're talking about religion.
There you go.
We're talking about religion. Interesting enough.
There's me in the corner.
That's me in the corner. That's me in the spot. Like losing my religion. Remember that song, dude?
Yeah.
On Champ Talk, if you can tell us who sung that song within 5 seconds, you'll get a free gift card to Champ Talk. Time's up. You lose. Yes, dude. Religion. I wanted to talk about this, not because I want to convert you atheists into Catholics, or, you know what I mean, turn, Christians into Muslims, or have everybody praying to Buddha or anything like that, or even giving you Satanists. What is it? Satanics.
Oh, now you're speaking in tongues.
I don't fucking know. People
What
that
about Satan?
worship the devil. I don't even want to give you guys high fives either. The conversation kind of came up. It was interesting because it's one of them things, right? We were at a friend of ours barbecue who is a pastor, and he allows us misfits to come over because he's trying to save us and get us to heaven, and I appreciate that.
I told him. You need sinners like me, keep you in business.
Yes, you do.
If everybody's great, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we need the bad ones. And another one of our friends does not believe in Jesus Christ or God or anything, and we had an open discussion about it. It was pretty cool. Because any pastor I've ever been over to the house, you know what I mean? The minute they see a snake, they kill it. The minute a sinner's in the house, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, Jesus, don't holy water, and, speaking in tongue, and it gets really gnarly. But, this particular guy, we're not going to name any names because just for anonymity purposes, we don't need to drop any knowledge on or drop that. It's about the discussion, so pay attention, folks. But it was cool because, we all had an open discussion, and there were people that did believe, people that didn't believe. And it was just a conversation, and it really didn't have to go any further than that. Nobody's feelings were hurt afterwards,
and it was a respectful conversation.
Yes. Because
it was a conversation.
Correct. It was seeking to understand, opposed to what did start to happen. And this happens a lot when you talk about the religion conversation, right? And really, you just can piggyback off any belief structure that you want to do.
It does. Politics, religion, gi, no gi, karate, taekwondo.
Absolutely. You can literally just have a conversation, folks, just to seek to understand. You don't have to go against it. So here's where we're at with this. So they were talking, and then one of the other guys there, who is a believer, started talking to one of the guys who wasn't the main guy who wasn't a believer.
Believer what? Because religions are
believer in God, Jesus Christ, right?
Because now there's 10,000 religions now.
Absolutely.
So you can't just assume.
And there's been a recorded of 3,300 gods since we've started the God conversation back in tents of some weird place where they said, if you don't do this, you're not going to get this, and you will get this. So we can go down that rabbit hole all we want to. You know what I mean? So that's fine. But yes, the one was a believer of Jesus Christ, the other was not. And I was listening to their conversation, and it quickly turned into the age-old, attack your beliefs after I asked you, why don't you believe, right? And that's a big thing, right? So in other words, if you're going to sit up and say, hey, why do you believe in Jesus Christ, right? Or why don't you believe in Jesus Christ or any other God? We're just using that one for example, or any other religion. Then understand and listen.
But most of the time, people don't speak to understand and listen. They speak to make their point and then to impress upon you a few more things that they think you should know.
And I think that's the biggest problem with...
And that's general, not just religious.
Well, I think that's the biggest problem with religion and with churches and synagogues and mosques and everything. It just seems like guilt can be a huge weapon in any kind of religion. You know what I mean? If you don't do this, you know, or you're not as good enough. This and
fear.
It's always a lot of guilt and fear that people have. And what I was listening to one of the guys project his beliefs on the other one, and the other one was getting quickly defensive and started projecting his beliefs. And that's exactly why we have countries still killing each other over religious beliefs that happened thousands of years ago. And it's exactly why we have a lot of these issues that we have in the world and in our country, where people just are unwilling to move off of their place. And I thought it was so interesting by the pastor, because he would hear something and he would just be like, he'd sit back and like, interesting. And it wasn't an interesting of judgment. It was an interesting of, he was really processing and listening and understanding the point of view of the person that didn't believe. Never once did he throw him down a bus.
And that's what sets people in general apart, but that's what sets him apart from maybe another pastor who is, it is by the Bible. Yeah. It is by this version of the Bible.
Yeah.
And don't question it, because that's the way it is, and that's the way it's always been.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I watched a little clip on Joe Rogan had a good podcast. And I mean, of course, he's the king right now. But he had a good clip talking about he was having a conversation about guy with aliens and how they thought aliens had infiltrated the human race, and they've been just giving us teasers for the past 50 years.
Oh yeah, if you want to have some fun, combine religion, spirituality, and aliens.
Right.
And that's a whole nother week of and DMT.
Yeah,
it's a whole nother week of stuff.
Joe Rogan infamous. And one of the guys was like, so why would, if they were this advanced, why would they want to fucking infiltrate humans? You know what I mean? And Joe Rogan's like, are you kidding me? We're the most interesting creatures on the earth. You know what I mean? Like,
next to dolphins, according to him.
Yes. we're the only fucking. First of all, we got the ability, like he said, to shut down the whole earth with one button, but we don't. Every 5 years, we nominate a new race to hate. You know what I mean? Like, you have people that are, saving massive amount of people, winning Nobel Prizes that we fail to even recognize, but we have TikTokers that we idolize, you know what I mean? And celebrities that we idolize. He made a couple good points, and I think that's so interesting, because it just seems like each however many years or whatever, we do nominate a new religion or nominate a new race to start saying they're the bad guy. They're the bad guy. And people miss the boat. Like, dude, as long as I'm able to have you scared of somebody else or something else, I can make money off of you.
Right. And that's kind of one of me personally, one of the issues I have with organized religion is the fact that, I mean, how many people have been killed in the name of God? When is it really in the name of your God, or is it the name of your God, money, and power?
Correct.
And that really hasn't changed. It's taken different forms and different shapes. Mm-hmm. It's still happening.
Yeah. It's going to be funny when we all realize that this whole time none of us knew, and we were praying to the same woman anyway. You know what I mean? So,
or the aliens get sick of it and press a button and like,
well,
here goes another one. On to the next galaxy.
I don't think they're going to just blow us up. I think they're going to probably enslave us and they make us do some weird stuff.
No, we're past that. They're like, we're done. Blow them up. Fuck those guys. Next galaxy.
Put this on your news story, bitch.
TikTok this motherfucker.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you say organized religion. That's why so I believe in Jesus Christ as my Savior, right? Personal Savior, and I believe in God, and I read what the Bible says, and I have my personal relationship with God. But I really don't like to be considered a Christian or any other denomination for that matter. You know what I mean? I just believe in God. I just believe in Jesus Christ. I don't, as my personal Savior, I don't want to be tied up in any kind of quote unquote organized religion type of thought process, because again, not there's anything against it, not that I'm right, not that I'm wrong, it's just my personal beliefs.
Yeah.
I just don't like the whole my God versus your God conversation.
Well, I mean, so just pick Christianity, for example.
Yeah.
How many different denominations and versions of the Bible? I mean, Christians can't even agree on one type of Christianity. Same thing with Muslims. There's different sects, but it's yeah.
Well, I had a good conversation.
Can't you just have a one-on-one relationship? I know I'm straying from the conversation that we were
no, you're
part of, but
you're in it. You're spot on. Why can't we just have a one-on-one relationship?
Yeah.
Speaking of Muslim, I spoke to a Muslim faithful Muslim person this weekend, and younger guy, and man, we had such a. This is what spawned it. This was the conversation that made me realize that we need to talk about this because you had the barbecue situation. Then I talked to another guy, and he's Muslim, and he's just like, man, you won't believe how many times I've been in college, and people will be like have this conversation with me, and they just so close minded. They think all Muslims over here chopping heads off and they're burning down the twin towers and stuff like that. He said that's not the case at all. He's like, that's not the case at all. He said we actually believe in Jesus too. Like you can't believe. Right. He was explaining to me that you can't believe in just one God. You have to believe that all of them existed and so on and so forth. And just a fantastic conversation. And a lot. He said his mother came over to this country. He's not from here. And he moved here when he was like 19. He's only been here 5 years. And he says his mother came to this country. And he said, it's just they don't have the exposure to so many different cultures and ethnicities like they do here. So, if they see somebody, drinking in the Muslim religion is a sin. If they see somebody drinking, like, oh, well, they're going, and like, no, Mom, that's kind of what everybody does here. It's like,
right. It's
not a big deal. You know what I mean? And then, he told me a story about there was a girl that was working for him. And she was talking about this. He's like, well, Mom, how many times do you go to mosque? You know what I mean? She said, 5 times or however many she prays. He said, well, she goes to church every day and she prays and she plays with, there's really no difference. And then they ended up becoming friends, the mother and the girl, which is cool because that's, to me, that's what I really appreciate. We have this, and our pastor said this really good and really made a mistake. We know what sells in the media, right? We know that bad publicity or bad things and shock value, clickbait, and all that is what gets everybody hyped, and you hear that all the time. Well, why would I believe in a religion that's done this to so many people and done that? And the ultimate thing is those were bad people. Those were bad people. That was bad practice. It was a bad time, regardless if they thought it was justified in the name of God or not, or whoever they prayed to. But you're always going to hear about the negative things that happen and the bad things that happen because that's what sells, that's what raises your eyebrows, that's what gets you attention.
Right.
There's a vast majority of people that believe and they've never done these bad things that nobody wants to hear about because that's not what gets anybody's attention.
And they do a lot of good things. I mean, you talk about now, people have their own feelings about this too, but I know Pastor was talking about going to the booklet, the mission booklet. I was thinking about one specific thing, how to survive one of the attacks. But
by the way, if you want to know how to survive an anaconda attack, we know how to do it. We'll tell you that another time.
Next on Champ Talk.
Survive an anaconda attack. Focus, dude. Focus, dude.
Okay. So, where was I going with that?
You were talking about the goods that religious people do.
Yeah, so, mission trips, for example,
yeah.
where a church will go and they go to another country and however long they're there, a month, 2 months, years, whatever it is, and they're building schools and putting in clean water and medical help and all these great things. So yes, that's great for these people. You'll also have the same people, some other people saying, yeah, but they're doing it just to force religion on them. So it's like, I get that, but but what we're saying about them, about people doing good things. So there's plenty of that. There's lots of that.
Yeah. Think about the billionaire tycoon CEO, right? Who will, run his brand in sweatshops, you know what I mean, with kids, working for 2 cents an hour, and all the big. If you could think of any of the biggest, negative views stereotypes that you could put on a CEO and a business tycoon, right? But they're still giving $30,000 as a tax write-off away to charity. That's still charity. They're still going to get blessed for that. No matter if it's got, no matter what the intention is. Still somewhere along the line, it has to be acknowledged that, it's a good deed. People get the misconception that only good things happen to good people and only bad things happen to bad people. There's no...
Oh, I know plenty of bad people that good things happen.
Facts, man. There's no even cut. Look, good things happen.
It's not even fair.
Good things happen to good people. Good things happen to bad people. Bad things happen to bad people. Bad things happen, or good things happen to bad people, right? Or good people.
All that.
You know what I'm saying?
Shit happens to everyone.
Yeah. There's no like, oh well, if it's just the recipe of life and the way that we are able to live our lives and move forward and stuff like that. And it's just remarkable because every time it seems like I hear the religious conversation or politics conversation, and let's go there. And don't you dive into it, but let's go there. Trump versus Biden, right? The whole thing with that. And this is just a recent, but any kind of president, right? It's always the attack on the other guy, how you need to believe in my guy. It's never about policies, right? It's never about, look, this policy fits me. Mm-hmm. This policy fits me.
Right.
It's always a personal attack. I think one of the best depictions of American politics was that movie with Will Ferrell and Galifianakis. What's his first name? The guy from Hangover. Zach Galifianakis. It was the presidential movie. I can't remember what it was called to save my life, but dude, it was a comedy. But in comedy, there's a lot of truth in just how the campaign. Yep, how the campaigns are ran so fucking crazy.
Yeah,
like right at the beginning, Will Ferrell's coming out of a porta potty after he slept with some girl, and the wife is okay with it. Like it's unreal the levels that we've gotten to, and I don't think it's just been in the recent handful of elections. This has been going on.
Just like religion, it's pretty much been since the beginning of all of it.
Always. But it seems to be it's always my God versus your God, or my candidate versus your candidate. It's like it's never just about a conversation, and I hear it so many times, and it stood out to me so well. And I was able to hear it, because it's like, dude, when I'm asking a question, right, I'm just asking to find out where your mind's at. I want to understand. I want to see what you're saying. It's not going to change my views, and I don't plan. And let me tell you something else, right? Maybe this isn't too Christian of me, right? I don't give a fuck who you pray to, or if you pray at all. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? It's your bear to cross. I don't give a fuck what you do. As long as you don't fucking cross the line with me, you know what I mean? As long as you don't fucking put your hands on me, or try to fuck with one of my kids, you know what I mean? Then you're all right. But dude, like at the end of the day, dude, that's not my cross to bear. You like that, right?
Yeah. I liked when you said you're the bear to cross.
Bear to cross?
I was like, don't go crossing bears because they will hurt you. That was part of the conversation too.
Yeah, man, it's really crazy on how these conversations start. And I personally believe that I can sit at a table with any person, and we could pray to multiple different places and people, and still pray together and be together and share fellowship in a way that doesn't matter. I think in my views of it, I think God speaks to us in our own languages. And I said there's no way, shape, or form. There still is reported a remote tribe in South America that every time humans try to go and visit or save or help or understand this tribe, they get killed, right? They've never touched.
Get out of here.
They've never touched their land. It's still sacred. It's a very small area, and so say their big tree in the middle of their village is their quote unquote God,
right? And
that tree tells them the same thing that all the religions are pretty much saying the same thing. You know what I mean? Do good to people, love, and teach, inspire, all that stuff.
Or kill the ones that don't believe the same as you.
Yes, that would
go there and spread some disease.
Right.
Go there, rape, pillage, and plunder.
Well, they didn't do that. But anyway, let's stay focused.
Just everywhere else in the world.
Yeah,
just not this place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe they did, right? But at the end of the day, there's no way that you tell me that then people ain't going to the afterlife or heaven or wherever you want to put them. They're never going to experience, Allah. They're never going to experience Jesus Christ. They're never going to experience these places that they say you have to accept me to be into the gates, right? It's never going to happen. They're not. This has happened for generations and generations. I feel that God speaks to us in our own language. You know what I mean? I think once we take the egotistical part about it out of the equation, saying, my God, and this is my God, and this is the way it's supposed to be. Think about how many times our parents were wrong. Well, we had to do it the way they told us how to do it, right?
Yeah.
You respect their parents, you appreciate their parents, and you learn from their mistakes. You know what I mean? But it doesn't necessarily mean that the way that mom and dad did it is the absolute infinite way that we have to do everything. You know what I mean? There's no other way of doing things. My daddy told me to do it like this. You know what I mean? The reason why them alligators so grab because they got all them teeth. You know,
it reminds me of a conversation that I had with a reverend one time, and it was Church of God, and I asked him one Sunday, somebody that I knew that was, hanging out with, she's like, come to church? I was like, sure, go and check. It's not like it was foreign to me. I'd gone before and when I was a kid, and then
you were trying to hit that, wasn't you?
No, I was, but that's not, got to keep,
you were doing that as a good dude, yes. But, you bastard.
But it was, but it's interesting too, even if you're not religious, super religious, whatever, and you go, there's still usually a good message. You can usually still get something out of that sermon.
Absolutely.
It's not a wasted hour and a half, or, well, if you're in Catholic church, it could be 2 hours.
Yeah.
But I asked him, I said, okay, what I'm getting for the past couple of weeks is it's just gloom and doom. Like everything I keep hearing is we're going to die anyway. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wouldn't you be out, use this hour somewhere, living life? Like, what is the end game here, Reverend? Right. Just kind of looked at me like, nobody had ever asked him that before, I don't think, and never really considered, but it was here. Well, here's why you do it, and here's why you do this with other people, and this is why we all gather here. I mean, but just the look on his face, and I said, if it's all gloom and doom, you keep telling me every Sunday we're all going to die anyway, then, but yeah, anyway.
No, that's a good point. And I think that's where you put the guilt in and the fear in people, and I think that's where you're going wrong. We talk about the father. I mean, I don't ever want my children to fear me. You know what I mean? I want my children to respect me. I want my children to carry on my legacy. I want my children to know right from wrong. And that was another conversation I had with the same person that didn't believe. I was like, it was funny. He asked a good question. He's like, he said he was scared to death of having children. And he said, I don't know, I don't want to be a fuck up like my dad was, right? And my mom was hard. So I don't want to be, I'm scared. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm like, well, dude, first of all,
there's no guarantees. One.
he said, I'm scared I'm going to fuck my children up. And I said, first of all, you're 100% going to fuck your children up.
Oh, yeah. I don't care how many books you read, videos you watch, people you talk to.
You could be fucking Susie White homemaker, and you're still going to fuck your children up by being too good.
Half of us talk to therapists afterwards.
Yes, dude. Yes. I told him, I said, no matter what our parents fuck us up, you're going to fuck your kids up. I'm fucking mine up right now. Like, that's inevitable. But you can give absolute 1%, just 1% effort. Like 1%. Like, I'm not talking about 1% more. Or you can give 1% effort. As long as it's within a realms of that you're doing it with love, as long as that you're present to some degree, as long as that you're, open to being open-minded and open to change. If you just gave 1% effort, that would trump the amount of fucking up your kids completely. I mean, you're gonna fuck them up regardless, but that 1% effort is always just a little bit better than the complete fuck up. Now obviously, you're fucking doing some heinous shit like touching them and shit, or doing that dumb shit, or if you're not even there and you just, father of mine, and just roll it out. You're gonna have some issues there. But what I'm saying is even if you're a fucking shitty ass dad, but you did it out of love, right? That's gonna trump the amount of fucking your kid up because you're there. You're a father. You're a president.
Well, and apparently there's some very clear ideas of what was fucked up. So
yes.
There's a place to start.
Correct. Yeah. Then he went on to say, well, how do I ensure my kid to be in right from wrong? I said, well, listen, buddy. I said, you're going to have, here's the thing is this kid, he's a good friend of mine. He's open-minded. I said, you're going to have, you got an open mind and you're very conscious, right? And that's the next place we're going to go when I have these conversations. We're going to talk about the conscious mind, right? I'm with you, the conscious mind and where religion plays into that, right? But I told him, I said, you're very open-minded. I said, even if your child come home and said that they believe in Jesus Christ as their Savior, and this is the route that I want to go, you would never in a million years, the person you are, not anyone else, tell your child, no, how dare you, if you're seeing this child produce and you're seeing this child do good things, and you'll even go to church and pretend that you believe just for the sake of your child, because that's what us parents do. That's what good parents do. We support our kids, right? I said, and furthermore, it's the consciousness of good and bad, right and wrong, that has given people that kind of level of guilty conscience, positive conscience, so forth. I said, so here's my stance on it. If I have to believe an imaginary guy in the sky and an imaginary red person in the ground to make my kid understand right from wrong, and that's what I got to do, then you know what? That I'd rather do that than the alternative and try to roll the dice and figure it out. One thing about me is I never grew up in the church. I never had a moment of falling or straying or a moment of triumph. Dude, we just went to church on Sundays because my mom and dad, needed a break. So they sent us to the church bus. We went on there. We did Sunday school. We played. We went home. That was about it. I went with my grandma on a handful of Sundays. That was about it. It wasn't me.
And that happens both ways. I mean, depending on someone's experience. I mean, people that didn't grow up going to church find out that it's for them and they want to go.
And people that grew up in it,
religion or denomination, and other people that grew up in it, it's the first chance they got to cut out. They're like, not for me, later.
Right. Then you have the one where people grew up in it and then they strayed away and then they found back. I mean, there's all sorts of scenarios and cases. Me, it's just God was always in the background. You know what I mean? I always knew that God, for me, had, my best interest, and there was right, there was wrong, and I just kept that mentality of, you know what, I better to go to rule.
But the deeper dive is you have to pay attention to the reasons that somebody either made that change either way, I guess.
Meaning?
Why did somebody leave a particular church, maybe go to a different one, or just leave a religion altogether? Why did somebody finally, all of a sudden one day, 25 years they never step foot in church, and then they find whatever their guide is or whoever. Well, so I mean, I'm saying there's reasons behind that. So it's deeper than it was just going to church or not going to church.
Right. Well, that's where I'm at with it. And take religion away. I firmly believe that faith is a strong, strong weapon, and it's a equalizer. It's a neutralizer. Excuse me. I believe when you have faith in something greater than you, whether it be this cup of coffee or God, Allah, Buddha, whatever, what I mean? When you have something, when you have faith in the background, it does something to the human psychology to be able to accomplish things when you think they're unaccomplishable. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When you think that there's something that you never be able to get through, something that you'll never be able to figure out, you failed. When you have faith in something bigger than you, a bigger picture, I just feel like it just seems like it always helps neutralize you and then push you into doing greater and bigger things.
Yeah. Because a lot of people can do that without religion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Absolutely. There are people that lack faith. And those are the ones that I struggle connecting with, you know what I mean? Because it's hard for me to relate, you know what I mean, and put myself in their shoes or see the world through their lens, because it's like, you don't believe in nothing? Like, you don't believe in anything? You know what I mean? Like,
and that's what I'm saying. There's something deeper, and that's on an individual basis.
Facts.
There's something that's deeper that's got nothing to do with religion, maybe with spirituality. And
a lot of it has to do with trauma.
Yeah.
A lot of it has to do with trauma, you know, whether it be major, minor, whether it be a constant trauma over the course of their lifetime. A lot of times it comes with trauma. And then now we're talking about something even bigger, consciousness, and digging deeper in for therapy and digging deeper into help and working on yourselves and all the great things that we've talked about over the course of Champ Talk and brought up. So I don't know, man. I found that interesting enough to bring up the subject today because it was on my mind, and I just, I think it's important to have faith in somebody or something, and really see a bigger vision for the greater of our people, man, and people in general, like our people, meaning humans. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because if we don't, aliens are gonna vaporize us
and fucking play with our buttholes.
Guys had your chance
and play with our buttholes, and I heard it's pretty awesome.
It's always got to go back to something, right?
Sorry. I couldn't help myself, dude. I couldn't help myself. All right, champ of the week. Champ of the week. Let's do it.
Champ of the week.
Who the fuck is the champ of the week? Hold on. I'm the motherfucking king, bitch. Oh man, when he said that, bro, I just got goosebumps through my body.
There were some good fights.
There were some great fights, yes. But that was Israel Adesanya who said that at the end of the win this weekend over Vettori. Vettori, yeah. But that's not our champ of the week, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
Who is our champ of the week, Chetland?
Brandon Moreno.
Hit that cheer button. Get that motherfucker some woes. Give him a soul clap.
He needs a woo.
Why is Brandon Moreno champ of the week?
Why is he champ of the week? And he's champ of the. I'm reading the bottom line so I'll read this backwards then. Because he became the first Mexican-born UFC champ.
Yes.
And not only that, it was a great fight. But this, I didn't know all of this. But okay, so he was assigned lowest seed on The Ultimate Fighter 24. Mm-hmm. He got cut from the UFC after 2-fight skid. Returned to the UFC and earned the title shot, fought to a draw in his first title opportunity, and then he's champ. So, it's been kind of a rocky road, I guess, but
always is.
But I think it was Meg posted video of after the fight, so like the not the post fight interview, but while he's still in the cage.
Yeah.
And she's like, if anybody else watching this crying, no, if you're not crying, you're lying.
We were at the fight. I was watching, and I actually got a little lump in my throat watching it because I can. First of all, I'm an empath, so I already automatically identify with it. But you could even hear it a little bit in Joe Rogan's throat when he was talking to him. Moreno walked around like he couldn't believe it. First of all, like that is.
It didn't hit him at first.
No.
You saw that, and then yeah.
That is huge. First of all, to be the first Mexican-born champion, a UFC champion, especially in Mexico. They already had a mural put up for him the next day in Tijuana. Everyone knows that Mexico has put out phenomenal fighters, boxers, right? Yeah. And for you to cross over into the UFC and MMA, obviously, arguably is the best sport in the world. We're very fucking biased. We always wear our MMA shirts and own a company and stuff. But
right.
It's just there's something about mixed martial arts that just is special. Just like what I posted the moment when he was walking around the ring. So he chokes out Figueiredo. Figueiredo is an animal, a complete monster in there. I think he was undefeated, or maybe lost one. And he's just been destroying his competition. They went to a draw last time, and the fight was completely Brandon Moreno from the beginning to the end. Two round fight, 1 or 2 round fight. It didn't last long, but man, dude, the magical moment that it was just amazing as Brandon Moreno chokes him out, and the ref calls it off. He gets up and he looks. He's just kind of walking around like it's not really quite sitting in, and then he starts to realize. And Figueiredo comes over to him and hugs him, dude. You just got choked out and lost your belt, and hugs him in a way. They both Figueiredo speaks Portuguese. Excuse me. He's from Brazil. Brandon Moreno speaks Spanish and English, and there wasn't. I couldn't see much talking. It was just the way that he was hugging him and patting him on the back because Figueiredo knew how big and important it was.
Oh yeah,
for Brandon Moreno to win, even as an opponent. And just encouraged
Those are the fights
him.
I like to see.
Oh my gosh, dude!
When it ends like that,
just gave him a hug, like, boy, you did it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you fucked me up, but don't worry, this is your time, man. Enjoy it. You could see he was saying something. You could see the change in Brandon Moreno's demeanor. And after they got to hugging, man, it just hit him, and he just like dropped and started crying. And it was I'm getting fucking goosebumps thinking about it.
His family came out.
Oh my gosh, it was a magical moment, dude. For UFC fans, MMA fans, or sports combat sports people in general, because it just showed an incredible amount of class and just magic. It's like baseball has all these magic moments that they have these numbers games and all these magic moments that happen, and something like that. And that's the beauty of the sport. You can't script something like that. You can't prepare. You can't rehearse. You can't go in premeditating saying this is what I'm going to do. I felt that in that moment, Brandon Moreno kind of didn't know how to react. and Figueroa coming over as a worthy champion and challenger comes over there and just says, "Boy, this is your time. You know, you fucking congratulations, great job." Whatever he said to him, man, and it's just awesome, man. Awesome fights this weekend. And that was, you know, to me that was the cake topper with that performance.
And like in the post fight press conference, I won't read the whole thing, but he did quote Thug Rose. And he was talking about when he you know, he's been watching her and everything that she's gone through. And then he said, it was just like, you know, the time when she's in there telling herself, I'm the best. It hit him. He said, whoa, you got to believe that, you know, and that struck a chord with him. I know we'd mentioned that before.
Another magical moment. I mean, if you witnessed that post-fight interview with Thug Rose or that whole fucking fight, I missed it. I was doing some really cool shit instead, but I missed it, right? But I saw all the highlights, man, and dude, she was just, there was a level to her of self-belief and just focus that was unmatched, and you don't see a lot. And women are so vulnerable in that way because men can fake it for a long time, and tough guys, you know, women really, you know, in a lot of therapy, there's a lot of positive affirmations you tell yourself. Her just saying I'm the best, and then the way she broke down, Joe Rogan was crying on that one. I'm crying driving home from fucking Baltimore.
And that's why I think it's interesting that he found inspiration in that same quote, that same time, that same situation, and then look at him.
Absolutely.
Saturday night.
It was magical, man. Unbelievable. I didn't know that, and that was great. But shout out to Brandon Moreno. Brandon, give us a call if you want to be on our show. We'll try to fit you in some way. But that's our champ of the week. The fights were banging, man. What was up?
Yeah.
What was up? I'm the motherfucking king, bitch.
How about that arm break? That was nasty.
I walked in and missed it. As soon as the arm snapped, I walked in. So
I still don't understand that one. It's like you could tell everybody there figured, okay, well, this is done. Nope. I think he was trying to tell the guy, just broke his arm, trying to tell the ref, and it kept going. That was disgusting.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, though. Yeah. And then he was a straight savage about it. He was like, you know, we're trained to fight. You know, if the guy don't break, it's tap, snap, or nap. You know what I mean? So I'm like, gee, that's what I like to
Diaz.
hear. And yes, Nate Diaz, man. Look, no matter what happens with him, his stock rises. You know, Nate Diaz.
He just could have finished that, though. He could have finished it.
You know,
I had him wobbled. But instead he wanted to point and laugh. And come on, man.
I know he'll be forever kicking himself in his butt for that one, but
he won't.
No, he's like, yeah, man, I'm not the problem, motherfucker. You know what I mean? But he did, man. Leon Edwards put on a clinic, and the bad part about that fight is that fight will always be overshadowed with the last 45, 50 seconds of the fight where Diaz almost puts him away.
Right.
But that's Nate Diaz.
The whole time he was getting destroyed.
No, that's Nate Diaz, dude. That's what we love about him, man. He comes out, and there's never a chance he's out of it. He's always a bloody mess. He's always a fighter. You know, the Diaz bro. I'm looking forward to see Nick coming back. You know what I mean? It was a real shame to the combat and MMA community in sports to see those types of fighters never work out like the way, you know, I mean, just think about the massive amounts, but in the same regards, they damn sure did a good job marketing themselves.
Oh yeah.
They did a good job. You know, I think everybody would agree that, you know, the Conor Nate Diaz fight was what really catapulted Nate Diaz's star power. You know, everybody in the MMA community knew him, but once he tapped Conor out, that really made him, you know, solidified his spot as probably bigger than his brother. To be honest, for the longest time, Nick was the one who was bigger, and Nick was the better fighter. You know, and then Nate comes out and does that. Then they have the trilogy with Conor and fucking comes out and they have another bloodbath war and razor close split decision. Then he fights and that was the last fight. People don't realize he fought Jorge Masvidal, the BMF. You know, gets bloodied up and you know, gets dominated.
Gets bloody no matter what. He gets pluck his forehead.
I know, bro. Gets bloodied up, gets dominated for, you know, 3 or 4 rounds. And I particularly thought that he was starting to come back at the end. Like, I particularly thought that always does it, dude. I mean, Jorge had his fucking number. And you know, as dangerous as Jorge is, you know, these guys aren't finishing Nate Diaz. You know what I mean? He's got all these fights. And then that was 2019, the BMF title. That was the last time we seen him fight, and that catapulted him even more. And then he comes out here, he gets worked for 4 3/4 of rounds, and then turns around and almost finishes it with the patented Stockton slap to the left hand straight. Just unreal, man. You gotta love that guy, dude.
Always entertaining.
You gotta love that guy, man. So that those fights this weekend was just really. Man, they had us in our fields and had us jumping around, so it was great, man. But Yeah, and then the main event, Adesanya. Come on, man. I'm the king, motherfucker.
He's the king.
Well, that'll do us for this episode of Champ Talk with Brandon Hudson. I was about to say Champ Talk with Religion. Man, guys, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you share our post, comment. We do appreciate you. Ardbrack Acres, we appreciate you. Brand, we appreciate you. The Brand, we appreciate you. That'll do it. I'm your host, Brandon Hudson. Across from me is...
Just trying to think of something, but it's just Chet.
I'm trying to think of something.
Yeah,
just Chet.
it's just Chet.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. What are you doing today to become a champion?